Keyframes are one of the easiest and most effective ways to bring visual interest to your videos. The first thing you'll see is we've got our clip in our timeline and we've got a static clip. There's no movement, not much is happening. So this is a good clip that we could use to bring some dynamic movement. So you can see anywhere you have a diamond is a place where we can add a keyframe. So if I want to add a keyframe, I just select it on, select it off. Let's say I want to add keyframes to the zoom. I want to add a keyframe here. I can just go there, add a keyframe, move forward, zoom in, and it automatically adds a second keyframe. Now we've got a zoom. Also, don't forget to download the cheat sheet in the description below. I'll have this all mapped out for you so you can refer to it at any time when you're dealing with keyframes inside DaVinci Resolve. Let's go up to the keyframe window. So if we open it up here, we've got parameters, we've got curves, and we've got lanes. At the moment, we've just got our transform keyframe showing. If we want to view more parameters, we just click this, and then we can either select display all video parameters, or we can go in here to video, and we can be selective with what we want to see. Let's say, for example, we want to work with zoom and retiming. We would select zoom and retiming. So now on the left side here, we have retiming and we've got zoom. You can see the two keyframes we added. If I select both of them and then press ease in and out, you can see now we've created this S-curve and it's going to have a different look on the video clip. So we can see it's not as linear, it's a bit smoother. I actually want to spread it out. So I can do that by clicking the keyframe, pressing shift, and then moving it forward. And you can see the keyframe's not going up and down because I'm holding shift, and I can move it along the keyframe timeline here. Another thing we can do is we can actually pull this to basically manipulate how the transition happens between each of the keyframes. Let's say I want this one to be an abrupt zoom in. I can lift up this handle here. And let's have a look at that. Let's see how that plays back. So you can see now it's a real flick in rather than that sort of smooth transition that it was before. Now it's a real pop in. And I kind of like that effect. So that's great. So where she blinks, it jumps in. So I kind of like that. Now another way we can change these keyframes is if we close this window, we can press this button here and it'll basically open up the keyframe manager, but it'll open it up below the footage. So if you prefer to edit your keyframes below the video clip, we can do that here. We can see here we've got all these options and we don't need them. So if I just go to this and just press display parameters with keyframes, because I've only got keyframes on the transform X and Y, it's only going to show me that. And it just means I can declutter the space and just work with the keyframes that I'm currently working on. So you can see here it pops in. That's great. I like it. And let's say we want to spice this up a little bit more. What we can do is if I go to my effects and let's say we've got Gaussian blur here, let's drag that on and you'll see that nothing's happened. So you can see I applied the Gaussian blur and you can see it's already had an effect on the clip. So let me just take it off. And you can see when I change the Gaussian blur, because I haven't keyframed it, they're not red. So it's just applying to the whole clip as one global change. So I don't want the Gaussian blur to occur yet, so I'll just take it off. Now, I do want the Gaussian blur to happen where it jumps in. So I want it to happen around here. So what I'll do is I want the Gaussian blur to appear in the keyframe manager below the clip. So if I click this and then press display selected parameters, and you can see now we've got the Gaussian blur and everything's selected because I've got display parameters with keyframes. I haven't got a keyframe on the Gaussian blur, so it's not going to show. So if I press display selected, and then what I'll do for Gaussian, I'll turn them all off. I just want the horizontal strength and the vertical strength. I don't need all of this. So now you can see here, we've got a flat Gaussian blur at 0. What I want is where it jumps in, I want to I can add a keyframe here, or I can add it here. You can see if I add it up here, it'll apply it here. And if I add it here, it'll apply it here. I'll turn on the keyframe and then go forward one frame. And then I'm going to put it right up. And then I'm going to go forward one more frame. And then I'm going to pull it right down. So now we have got a bit of a flash in with the Gaussian and the transform. So that's great. So already we've taken a static clip, we've just added a transform keyframe and a Gaussian blur keyframe, and now we've got something a little bit more interesting. Maybe it's a transition, maybe, you know, we're in the middle of an edit and we just think, you know, there's not enough movement in this static clip. So keyframes are just a great way to bring some movement, some interest to your footage. Let's just bring in a sound effect. It's a bit more interesting. Can be a nice transition. So we can also add keyframes to our text layer. Go to our inspector. Let's say we wanted to get bigger from about here. So we'll just add a keyframe there. And then we want the opacity to be 0. And then as we go forward, we'll bring the opacity up. We'll bring the size up. And let's have a look at that. And then what we can also do is we'll add a Gaussian blur to the text layer. So I'll bring it up fully. And as the clip comes in, I'll take that Gaussian down. So now we've got the keyframes applied to the text layer. What I can do is I can smooth these ones out. And then I can also open the Gaussian. So this is the Gaussian blur keyframe. Let's say I want it to be a bit more abrupt. And there we go. So you can see how keyframes can be very effective in taking a static clip and applying some interest. So you can get super creative with it. There's no limit to how to use the keyframes. Don't forget, you can download the Keyframe Manager reference guide. It's in the description below. Go and download it. It's a great tool, a great reference whenever you're working with keyframes inside of DaVinci. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you in the next video.